In this video, I'm going to show you two ways that you can use the internal data that you're collecting to research and find new high probability audiences to test for your YouTube campaigns. So we're going to take a look at Google Analytics, but we're also going to look at another method just within Google Ads. So Google Analytics, we don't always use this. I like to use it when we have access, but sometimes we're working with a third-party product and we don't have access to it, and the traffic that we're sending, we just can't see it. We don't have access to it. This is typically something you can take the time to set up if it's your own product, to make sure you've got all the goals set up, that everything is set up properly with Google Analytics. The advantage is that you can see how traffic from different sources is converting, right? So if you're running Facebook ads, native, Google ads, you can see that all in the form of goals. So you have to have goals set up. And doesn't matter if it's Facebook or whatever, you're going to see these goals firing if you have it set up properly. We're not going to get into how to set that up. That's covered in depth in the tracking and analytics course. But this is something to look at if you actually have access to it. So let me just see. I'm going to shorten this a bit to reframe the screen a little bit here. So inside of Google Analytics, what you want to look at, you want to make sure that you can see the goal. In this case, it's the lead goal. And you want to come over here to this tab where you can explore the audience. You can explore different things over here, such as demographics, age, and gender. We look at age and gender a lot. We typically advertise to males in the older age demographic, and go after the same type of targets. But sometimes we'll test, if we have a different promotion, it will appeal to a younger demographic, and we kind of want to verify that. And a lot of times we have certain promos that will also appeal to women, so we try to get out of the box a little sometimes, just to see if we can find new pockets of traffic. And then this is a great tab over here under interest, where you can see the affinity categories and also the end market segments. So one way we like to look through this is to say, all right, we want to look for a high lead conversion rate, because if I just look at the number of goals right here, we're seeing this is one that we target a lot, and we just are naturally going to get a lot of this because these are some of the most obvious audiences that we go after. But you'll find a lot of times that your avatar will fall into different interest categories rather than the ones that are just blaringly obvious to you. So this gives you a good chance to find out about that. So ours, we're using financial products, but they're also, looks like they're falling into other categories, like business services. So, probably businessmen, other financial services, things like that. So that is sorted by quantity there. But what I'm interested in is, are there any that have a higher than usual conversion rate, and also have a significant amount of conversions? 7, that doesn't really tell me much. This trips to Hawaii, I mean, I don't know. That doesn't tell me a lot, because that's, just a kind of a small set of data there. I'm looking for stuff more like this, where we'll see 358. So, they're looking up credit and monitoring services. Still has a pretty high conversion rate for us. Business services, so you'll keep seeing this business theme, even though we're in the investing niche. We keep seeing this business theme pop up a lot, so this would be a good one for us to also target, to start getting out to in front of some other audiences. And you can't judge. You can't look at a category and think, oh, that's so unrelated to my my niche, what I know about them, obviously, that it's not going to work or doesn't, it's not worth targeting. Because honestly, for us in the financial niche, we've had some audiences that just convert great. Like there's one called Avid Book Readers or Book Lovers, and that one converts really well. We find a lot of good buyers there, but that would not have been top of mind. So you can also come to affinity categories, things like that. So go for ones that actually kind of make sense for you. A lot of times in these affinity categories, we found that, hey, our audience, they also really like golf, and we've ran that to golf enthusiasts. I've even been able to give some of our partners feedback on copy. Like, just notice, you get to find out some data driven trends about your audience. Like, ours, they're in market for American made cars. So if you really want to take it to the next level, you can actually loop back and start including some of those things in your copy. Because how interesting would that be if you're doing, let's say, something in the investing niche, and you're talking about, in this niche, you want to talk about how they can take their lifestyle to the next level, through investing, and get to enjoy things like golf trips, things like that, things that you actually know that they're fans of. It's going to feel like you're speaking more to them directly. So you can even do more than just find out what audiences you want to target. You can actually use that. If you communicate with copywriters, say, hey, did you know that, we find like a really high correlation of all of your buyers are really interested in buying. They're like all in market for a Cadillac. They may use that in the copy. So you can find out all those things in Google Analytics. I feel that Google Analytics, it just takes more to set it up, and we don't always have that luxury depending on what your setup is. But the advantage is that you can accumulate all the traffic here, because Google Analytics will let you measure that. Another really cool way to find out audiences in your niche is right in Google Ads. So let's take a look at this. I'm just going to move this over a little bit. So to get to this, you're actually going to go to your tools and settings. You would go to your tools and settings and go to Audience Manager. It's going to bring you to this screen where you're managing all of your audiences. And there's going to be this tab that says Audience Insights. So what this does is it's kind of self-explanatory, because you can hover over something and it will give you the explanation. So like, let's look at, well, first, let's make an important distinction here. So all converters, I'm collecting leads, but I'm also collecting buyers. I'm really more interested in the buyer data, because we can collect leads all day, and that's great. But I'd rather target the people who are going to end up being buyers. So it really just explains this right away, right? People in the all buyer 540 days category are 6.2 times more likely than the general population to be in market for home equity loans. And the rest of this really works the same way. It's just comparing your buyers against the benchmark of essentially Google's network within the United States. And you can also look, I believe, at the entire Google Display Network, Canada. You can compare that. So, these trends make sense. Male, like I said, older tend to do really well. They're not parents. Their kids are probably out of the house. But ones that, we know to target, like the obvious audiences for us, investment services, that's the audience just says what it is. And it's very obvious, right? So there, sometimes you will find things like this in Google, and it's a good place to start. But also look at this, they're in market for home equity loans. Maybe this tells you something a little bit deeper about your avatar. They're just looking at ways to get their hands on more cash, right? mortgage refinancing, home equity loans, business loans. You see a lot of these themes come up, business financial services. So this could be a very good audience for us. Other things I will see, I seems like more of a stretch. I can't, really make the connection in my mind, like lingerie. I don't really see how that fits, but it could be worth a test if you want to test that. But I go after the stuff where, okay, I see the high correlation and I say, okay, that makes sense. Like I could see, um, you know, um, our audience is looking for ways to get their hands on more income because they're nearing retirement and um, you know their mind is on money, right? So those things make sense, and you can also do that for affinity audiences. So that business theme again, it'll give you a size, um, the size of the audience, right? So that's even higher than the obvious one we would target, like avid investors. So these are even higher correlation. Now, it's no guarantee. It's just going to give you ideas to test. And like I said, I've also found a lot of interesting things in here where I've been able to loop it back to copy to say, overwhelmingly, your buyers are in market for these things. So it gives you the chance to, if you want to loop that back into the copy, you can talk about other things that they like Cadillacs, things like that. Besides just the straightforward information about your product. So the other things they're aspiring to do. And it's very interesting, right, that you could be talking about that while they're actively looking for it. So the thing to remember about this is not including all of your traffic. This is just recording conversions in Google Ads. And you can look at data like whatever conversion you have, right? If you're looking at advertorial clickers, you're looking at leads, just all conversions, it's going to be different, right? So when you get enough data, I like to look at all my buyers to see like what do they have in common, because there are so many possible audiences you could use, and the point of your research is to kind of narrow it down to find your most high probability ones to prioritize your testing. All right, that's it for this video. See you in the next module.